All right, we are live. I am just doing some house cleaning here, moving the furniture around. What is all this talk about BTC? Are we talking about Bitcoin today? Is that what we're doing? No. Oh, I don't know why everybody's pinning their hopes on Bitcoin, as if that is going to be our savior. That is such a pipe dream. And I know that upsets a lot of people when I say things like that. Okay. Oh, the brightness feels good. Getting all that vitamin D. Can you get vitamin D from LED lights? All right. So, what was this about? Why are you here? Why am I here? Oh, yeah. The stock market is set to blast off, and I'm going to provide a reason why. Even, even flat in the face of our own personal indicators that are telling us that we should short this market. Man, you got to have some really strong conviction when you have everything staring in your face saying everything in this world is pointing towards a weak, unsustainable market. %20 unemployment, riots in the street, pandemic, people on edge, yet the market still goes up. No matter what we do, no matter what we throw at it, the market goes up. There's one thing that most people that are searching for answers fail to realize that the market, first of all, is not here to serve you or your idea of what should or should not be. The market, and maybe you've heard this before, it is a forward-looking discounting mechanism. What does that mean? What is a discounting mechanism? It is where the collective consciousness of millions of investors and entities and people and things see the market, say 3 to 6 months ahead. That's a big range, 3 to 6 months. Why can't they pick, like 45 days? Where will it be in 44.7 days? The future is unknowable. Anything can happen. Anything. Yet the market still is looking at that future us, where it believes the collective us will be sometime in the near future. And then all the money in the world is put to work with that in mind. Creates tremendous momentum, tremendous drive. It actually creates things that don't exist today. This whole idea that there is some future thing. And the one thing that I've learned over the years is that when you have a belief and you hold that belief very tight, you don't let other ideas penetrate that belief, regardless of what the belief is. Of course, there are universals. There are universal beliefs where you know the way the world should act, but still doesn't. when you hold on to things and they become attachments to you, then you suffer. Doesn't allow you to see beyond what is actually going on here. I mean, I look at this tremendous strife and evil that is permeating our society. It's doing anything it can to bring it down. We have been dealt blow after blow after blow, and I still think there's going to be more. Even if we get beyond this supposed racial strife, which I don't believe that is the issue at all. I mean, these riots are not protesters. Sure, there are some people protesting. Sure, this is a contrived, planned movement by the same people, the exact same people that have been throwing everything else in our way for the past 3 years. Same people, same kind of people. This isn't supposed to be a political outlook. Not at all. I I'm not making this political. I'm making this something more visceral, something closer to earth, something closer to what is actually the thing that drives men and women and people. This is more a test between good and evil. And there are people, good people, that are on both sides of this issue. And they get caught up in this. They get caught up in their own attachments. And they suffer. What the hell is it that I'm talking about? This market, everything that is going on now. You look at what's going on now and you know that it can't be right. It is not right. Nothing is working or behaving the way it should. We are in like opposite world, almost a form of idiocracy that is a novel and unfolding that is just too bizarre that anybody could have conjured this up. But that's what we're living now. My mic is choppy. Probably, maybe, but I doubt it. So let's take a look at the charts. We have a technology that we use, that we rely on, that we play on a consistent basis. It's largely right 85, 90% of the time. And it's a damn good bet. The past 4 or 5 days, it has been telling us the market's not going to go up. It looks like it's turning around. It doesn't have legs, yet it holds on, keeps pushing through. And not just with you know, our own constructs and things that we are looking at, but even in the face of things that are new to us, that are new to society, that are new to the world. Yet the market keeps on pushing and pushing and pushing. And now it seems like we're on this precipice. Either we push through and win, or we fall back and not necessarily fail, but get knocked down. And the problem with being knocked down in this environment, it feels like almost certain death. It feels like there's just no way to claw up that wall, that mud wall going straight up. No matter what you grab onto, it just keeps on falling apart in your hands. Yet we keep on surging forward, more, higher. Makes you wonder, is there something else behind all of this? Of course, there are some that will say, well, yeah, Ernie, that is the Fed. They're just buying everything. They're buying junk bonds now. That's why the market continues to rise. But I don't believe even that is enough to keep this market moving up. There is something else moving it up. And I don't have to be rational with this. I'm just looking at what I see. One of the tenets that I use when doing something like volume profile analysis is that you look at which way the market's going. I don't even care what's going on around us. Is the market going up? And that should be my bias. While the market is going up, that's my bias. Go to the charts here. Looking at the Dow, and this is a 1 hour chart. So the past few days, we're right up against this area. Now, the Dow is one thing. We go and, you know, go out a bit to a daily chart. We are nearly at a point where we've overtaken the calamity that fell upon us. That first initial drop in February when the pandemic was upon us. And so all of this time, all of this here, all of that movement can be seen as, largely the result of this pandemic, this thing that's been thrust upon us. And even that, we rejected it. Just a month into it, we rejected it with force. Said, no, this isn't right. There's something wrong. We're told that we need to change everything that we do, everything we believe, everything that we think is normal will no longer be normal. We must succumb to this new normal. Give up your life, give up your freedom, give up your happiness, give up everything. Submit. Yet the market pushes forward. Look at let's look at the Nasdaq. It's NQ. What explains this? That we are within 1% of all-time new highs in the Nasdaq. 1%. One day, we could be hitting new highs. What do you think is going to happen? Now, people will largely say that, that is what is pushing us higher. Just a few companies. But those few companies are more than just the few companies. They touch so many other companies. They are tech behemoths. Here we are. States are just getting back to normal, or their new normal. People have not all returned back to work. We're forced to come back in piecemeal. Most places requiring under 25% occupancy. And still, the market, this forward discounting mechanism, sees a bright future, sees an all-time high bright future. And generally what you want in a market is all the markets to confirm, right? So we have the NASDAQ, which is about to break new highs. That's hard to say. The NASDAQ break new all-time highs in the middle of a pandemic, in the middle of a riot, in the middle of millions of people wondering where their next paycheck is going to come from. Let's look at the S&P. So I drew this analysis here. And initially, I drew this analysis right off the bottom. I thought we were going to come right off of this and just go. And we did. We came up to this area where people thought we hit a triple top, bouncing off this level, bouncing off this gap down here. Bam, 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 bam. No. It's like, Rocky down for the count of 10. Stay down, Rocky! Stay down! Get up anyway. Break out to the new level. About to break through this next level here. What's going to happen when we get above here? We are going to shoot up through this volume well like it's nothing. I don't know. Somebody's calling me from Washington. About to move through there like it's nothing. Right? So here's this volume node here. Let's zoom in on that a little bit. Here's that same volume node. I wonder what happened here. Let's see, 4 hours. Why does that look so different? Ah. Extend this so that we can see this. See, I'm extending these volume nodes so that I can see them when I zoom in, they become crystal clear. There we are. We've passed through this volume node. We've entered it. Okay, so look here. This is a very telling pattern. We consolidated here, left a nice footprint, what they call a nice balance, moved up to the next level, left a nice balance. Now we're moving up through to the next level. We've already broken through with one market, the biggest market, which is also a major component of this market. What is there keeping us from breaking through here? If we break through here, what can we expect? I know what we can expect. We can expect more of the same the same thing that has tried to hold us back this entire time. The same evil. There will be something else. Soon we will shed these riots. And why do I say that these riots are no longer about George Floyd? Well, first of all, there's new information out that George Floyd was more likely to have succumbed to his addiction to fentanyl than to be choked out. Yet that is a narrative that will not get played out, will not be entertained, although those are the facts that are coming from his autopsy. All right, people are already on. I mean, what happened to him was horrendous. The behavior of those police was just horrendous. But those facts point to a different situation. The riots themselves, they started out as protests, peaceful protests, but then they were fueled, and then they put gasoline on that fire, literally delivering stones and shipping in people in a coordinated attempt to destroy cities, to break down society. This is not a spontaneous riot of people getting out there and trying to destroy. This is people with a plan. Their plan can't win. And it won't win. But they will not give up. I think most people realize that this is no longer just a protest, although the media continues to call it people protesting for Floyd. It is so idiotic. But we're going to break through here. Why? Because we always do. Same pattern as before. 1, 2, 3, break. Here we are. 1, 2, 3, break. We're about to break through. When we break through this level, there's no stopping. We're going to enter into a massive volume well, an area of low liquidity. It's going to push us up where we should be, irrespective of our current situation, irrespective of all things that seem to be reality. This is not, we are not living a reality. We are living a contrived situation by evil people. How do you do analysis when you're evaluating good against evil? Well, you look at how many times good has won. The evil has been at it for the past 4 years, just pushing, actually even longer than that, just pushing and pushing and pushing. People don't give up. We just keep on moving forward and forward and forward. Why should we stop now? What is it in the mix that says now's the time to give up? I don't see anything. I see nothing in our way, nothing towards pushing forward and defeating that evil, defeating its spirit. That's what this market is about. It is about more than just, some underlying mechanism. It is about the underlying will and power of free people. I know that sounds weird. I know how weird all of this sounds. How weird could it be that we've come off that bottom, given all the headwinds that we've had, yet we did it. And now I'm talking about something that should seem like the new normal, right? Everything is ahead of us. There is no way that we can blast through that steel wall. Yet we do over and over and time again. We are blasting through. How is the consumer sentiment now? Doesn't matter. Martial law, I don't, yeah, there'll be martial law, but it's going to be restricted to certain cities. They're trying their best to expand this strife to other cities, but it's not working. Spock would know what to do. Just reading some of the comments here. People in cities are trapped and easy prey. That is true. That is true. We're consolidating right now on this volume node, and all the momentum is behind us. We're going to push forward and through this. We're going to defeat whatever is trying to hold this market back. And why is that? Because it's done it before. It refuses to die. Like this, subscribe, comment. Every time I go back to the big head, that thing comes on now. And that is true, Fuzzy Bid. This whole shit is led by Antifa. They are just a tool of the evil. But that is part of the evil. And I don't know why, but people on the left have chosen to ignore what is right in front of their face. There are people that want to see our economy die so that their party can regain control. Are they evil people? They could be your neighbor. They could even be your family member. Are they evil? Or just what is it? What makes people choose the dark side, even if they are generally good people? We all have different ways of looking at what is good and evil. They have puppets. Who is buying? Is it just the Fed? This is not just the Fed. This is not the Fed. We know, we can see what they've invested in. This is not just the Fed. This is the market running away with this. Yeah, this racism shit is, let's see, I'll put that out there. This racism shit is totally BS. Now, that's not to say that there isn't racists out there. There definitely are. There are horrible people out there. But I don't think that they're the people that that the media is making them out to be. It's probably exactly the opposite. Hedge funds are buying. Why are they buying? Hedge funds are buying because they look at this as a good bet. They believe in the undying spirit of free people. We've been held down too long. We've been fed too much shit. There's nowhere but up. We cannot lay down. Who among you is willing to just lay down and let them step on your neck? Do they really believe that that is what the American people will do? I don't know anything about the Nickelodeon commercial. Just reflect back. Let's see. Only ever been two foundations to reality cosmic mechanics. Either you believe in bumping fairy particles or you believe in the ether. I have no idea what that means. All I know is that evil must be defeated. And there can be nothing short of evil that is behind everything that has gone on in the past 6 months, 3 years, whatever. It must be defeated. Against all odds, it must be defeated. It's not like you have a choice. You can't say, well, we'll sit this one out and do it next time. They're going for your throat. It's now or never. Believe, don't believe. Who is the more likely foe here? The media or the people? A Philly cheesesteak is a good thing. I have to think about that. It is a good thing. You know what's even a better thing is when you can walk right up to a vendor without a mask and say, give me one of those things with extra onions. I went to lumber to get some lumber today, a little project that I'm doing. And I had to wear a mask. What do you have to wear a mask to get lumber for? What is my take on the election? What, the coming election? I think most people are going to realize that we've been dealt a series of hoaxes. The whole Russia gate was a hoax. The obstruction charges was a hoax. This pandemic, although the disease itself is real, the reaction to it was a hoax. The riots that are going on now, although it was rightfully some people should be protesting that, what it turned into is a hoax. Every little thing that has happened, whether it had tails or not, was turned into a massive hoax in an attempt to destroy. And we keep on fighting back and destroying and winning and moving forward. That is why this market is going to move forward. That is why I'm taking a contrarian position. I believe this market is going to blast forward through this next level. Yeah, you've already asked about the Nickelodeon. I have no idea what the Nickelodeon commercial is. I know what Nickelodeon is, but I have no idea. What is my take on cloud business? Everything's in the cloud, by the way. You know, to label something that is a cloud business is really meaningless. We've been living in the clouds or the internet, putting our processing out there in the cloud for a couple of decades now. Yes, the most recent hoax, this riot, is definitely something that has been fueled by Antifa and Soros and others, where and they have literally organized it, a coordinated attack on multiple cities, and within each of those cities delivered the bricks on pallets for people to throw through windows. How does that happen? Why isn't that reported by the news? When it's so clear to see, when the news doesn't report such a thing, it becomes clear who the evil ones are. But it wasn't only bricks, but they had, in some cases, they put on pallets of stones that were held together with wire, placed in front of businesses. Not just a few. I mean, they must have they must have the videos of these people depositing these things. Luckily, not all are sheep, Ernie. Most people believe this bullshit. They're blind. Yeah. So this is what Okay, let's just assume that this is a spontaneous riot based on race. Then how do you explain the Antifa people who we've already identified as clear threats and instigators in past disruptions, and bricks on pallets being delivered in front of stores, literally placed on the sidewalk in front of stores, and then people pushed towards them? How do you explain that as spontaneous? If this is right, how will it impact the price of gold and gold related stocks? Well, gold and gold related stocks have done fantastic. And particularly royals and streaming companies. I just did an article on it, by the way. You go to asymmetricadvisor.com, did an article on those particular types of companies. Those are the people who finance gold miners. But you look at the gold and precious metal market, the sector, it has far outpaced even technology. I mean, it is going to the moon. But I don't believe that that's going to be sustainable. I think that it is a little bit ahead of the curve. And one of the reasons is there's going to be a supply shock to that industry due to the virus. The definition on what is science changed. The left cherry pick its own science. The left often will say that they are led by science, but one thing that I've learned from the left is that they project in order to deceive. It is all part of this sort of Saul Alinsky's rules for radicals. Project something that you are onto your enemy, and then yell and scream and then blame them for your malfeasance in order to distance people's minds from your own malfeasance. Is Biden going to win? No. Myself, I am full of hate because of this shit against the left wing. My town is pretty right winged, and they come here, they don't survive. And well, I don't think that. I think that you need to hate evil, people who do evil things, for sure. But I think you also have to forgive people that are swept up in this, some of this stuff that just don't understand, don't see it. They're not the same as the people who are instigating these things. So, anyways, if you like this video, if you like my analysis, please give it a thumbs up. So I'm going against what our signal is saying. Our signal is saying everything is going to hell. We've had a bearish signal now for a week. At some point, we're going to push through it just like we've pushed through other signals. And it's not going to make sense. I think that we're going higher. I think that if we move through this next day, get beyond this, that this market is going to blast off. It's getting set to blast off. Should you hedge your bets? Now, there's a good question. Well, you should always buy insurance. Well, Adam's saying it's not just Antifa, but it's also Black Lives Matter and United Freedom. I'm assuming United Freedom is one of these Muslim groups, and I think that they are coordinating in some respect, but I don't think that they're all part of the same thing. I don't think they all have the same ultimate goal. Blast off before June 5th. Yeah, I do think, yeah, before June 5th. I think that we'll start to. I don't think that we will be blasted off. But yeah, I think within the next few days we are blasting off. This is the time, right now. Right now, right here is the time. And that is possible, Frank, as well. Possible fake break of a new high followed with a crash or a pullback. Those are just scenarios. What would the purpose of that be? I didn't say Muslims in general. I think that there are certain Muslim clad groups. Just like when you look at Black Lives Matter or Antifa, they are clad with people of certain belief systems. Short squeeze and then a D trap. I don't believe this is a trap. What is the purpose of who is benefiting from a trap? The people with money certainly won't benefit. We won't benefit. Nobody benefits. The only people that benefit is the evildoers. That is ultimately what they want. They want us to fail. They want the market down. They need it down. And the reason why I don't believe it will happen is because it hasn't happened before. In the face of the most unbelievable force. What is my take on inflation? I think that right now we're in a deflationary mode because of the fact that most people are not working. They're not productive. They're not adding things to this GDP. So we're in a deflationary mode. So it has become so pronounced now that the only answer to that is inflation. So I think that there will be inflation. And in fact, we should be embracing inflation. And there are actually, and this may sound counterintuitive, we need inflation in order to beat the evil. We need to resist the temptation to do business with China, for instance, domesticate our supply lines. And that means bringing things home, manufacturing them here, and not using their slave labor. And that inflation will counteract the deflation. You think that the original ideas that COVID wasn't bad was correct, but they saw an opportunity? Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. It was, yeah, it was another opportunity to fake us all out. You look at Sweden. Sweden took a very different track. They completely ignored. They did the sensible things. They had social distancing, etc. Wore masks, tried not to, but they didn't stop going to school. They didn't stop going to work. And in fact, they're pushing out a positive GDP. Now, what I'd like to, a very telling thing will be in 2 weeks after these riots, if we do not see a resurgency of virus infections, then you'll know that this was all just a big hoax. So I'm not discounting that COVID was a disease that hurt a lot of people, but it mainly hurt elderly and people who had compromised immunological systems. It did also hurt some people, but they were some younger people. Just like anything, the odds are that even some people who are perfectly healthy will get a disease like any of the other thousands of diseases that are out there. But if you go and look at the stats, almost exclusively, it is people that are either obese or pre-existing conditions or over 70 years old or with upper respiratory existing conditions. There was no need for us to drag this country through this and create such a gash. It's going to leave a scar for probably a decade. There was absolutely no reason, unless you had evil intent. But even that, we're pushing through it. Here's the other tell, that once one of these hoaxes fails, they immediately move on to the next thing, and then all was forgotten. You look at Russiagate, for instance, completely forgotten. Collusion, completely forgotten. Soon, this pandemic will be completely forgotten. Soon, these racial riots will be completely forgotten, and it will be the next attempt. And that's where we are. So actually, I think that even today we might break out above that level. I'm looking at those charts. I see those charts, and it really looks like we're going to break out here. Oh, is that possible? It's because ultimately, good always defeats evil when confronted. Good always defeats evil when confronted. The only way evil can win is if you invite them in That is the only way. It's kind of like the old parody, you know, the cliche of the vampire. The only way the vampire can get you is if you invite them into your home. It is the only way that evil can win. Good men succumb to evil when they fail to act. Failing to act is the same as inviting them in. Allowing yourself to be run over is tantamount to joining the evil side. All right, gone on long enough. Been almost an hour. So my prognostication, it may happen today. Market is just closing. We've pushed up right near the end, ending near the highs of the day. How is that possible? And now we have the futures market to look at. Let's see. Let me see if I can bring up a real-time chart of the futures market. The trading view chart that I have here isn't real time. So I'm looking at 15 minutes ago, but I see that so I'm just going to look at the futures market and see where we are. Real time. All right, let's just do one, and we'll look at the ES. Yeah, we're breaking through at 3076. Look at that. We're at session highs right now. Session highs. That's a real-time chart, my friends. Let's zoom in on that. We broke through on session highs. When you break through on session highs on a long reach, the next day is going to be a bullish day. Almost always. So the Dow is at 25,707. Let's check what that is here on the futures market. 25,695. It reached as high as the high was 25,720. All right. 25,720. Where is 25,720 relative to the all-time high? At 29,543. All right. So I'm going to go back to the big head, but it's going to ask you to do this. Yeah, Dow's at 25,707. The Dow is definitely lagging in terms of all-time high, but it ended today on what appears to be a high, and it's within just a couple of points of breaking out into that volume well. And I believe then we'll move even higher. We'll move higher tomorrow. We're about to break out and go much higher. Yep. It right in the last 10 minutes, it blasted up about 120, 150 points, but I believe it's going to go much higher. It looks like it has tremendous strength behind it. This has got to be killing those who have put bricks on the sidewalks for Antifa. Yeah, I am not going to say that that's the Fed. And even if it is, great. We need all the help we can get. I want to tell everybody, though, if you're still hanging on, we're doing a webinar this weekend with the Asymmetric Advisor, and we're going to be talking about our watch list. And there will be a new pick for the month of June. So far, we're hitting up around 100% on our picks in terms of return. So go to the link below, asymmetricadvisor.com, and join us. It's going to be a great ride. Thank you all very much. We'll see you tomorrow. See you tomorrow morning. Take care.